make the chimney fucking chompers.
Language!
Expecto Patronum!
That's what I do. I drink, and I know things.
Exterminate! Exterminate!
Welcome to the Nerdcast with your hosts, Roxanus 288 and Snakeskin 94. On this episode of the Nerdcast, we take a look at Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Why does this movie have to suck so much?
I don't want to do it. I don't want to talk about it.
We have to. We have to do it for the people of this world.
I know. This is the one that everyone looks forward to because everyone's like, "Oh, this is great because people are gonna trash this movie and shit talk on it." You know what? Yeah, we are. This movie sucks.
Oh gosh.
I will defend George Lucas on almost anything. Attack of the Clone. No. Fool me once with Phantom Menace. Okay, that movie's cool. You fool me twice with by Return of the Jedi. When you look back on it, realize how cheesy it is. It's like, how dare you? You fool me a third time with Attack of the Clones, and it's like, no. You know what, George Lucas? You're officially that guy. You're Scott. You're Ridley Scott, because you know what? You created something really cool, and then the second movie was awesome. But then after that, it just deviated. We got what was it? Alien 3, and then Alien Resurrection. This is Alien Resurrection.
And now we have a second Prometheus film coming out.
Oh,
That's
supposed internet.
That's supposed to be a prequel sequel, sort of.
It's a sequel to Prometheus, which is, I think, a prequel to Alien.
Yeah, it's weird.
Real talk, though, the Clone Wars show is actually really legit, though.
I know, right?
That's the problem.
The movies wasn't really all that great.
That's my problem.
I mean, it introduced Ahsoka Tano, but that's really about it.
To be honest, this is a weird point of conjecture, but part of the reason I dislike the movie is because it took the Clone Wars, the original shorts on Cartoon Network, and then the computer animated series, Battlefront, the entire backdrop of the Republic War, of the Galactic War, and to validate its existence. Because literally everything that came after Clone Wars was pretty rad. Attack of the Clones was pretty rad. Because honestly, like I said, the Clone Wars show is really good. The games are a lot of fun to play as the 501st. And Commander Cody's basically like Jason Statham. But, oh my God.
Except when he's not playing the bad guy, you know.
In Furious 7, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Jason Statham doesn't need a lightsaber. His car's his lightsaber. But honestly, I mean, you know, I'm a kind of guy where it's like I can look back at a lot of things I watched I didn't like and be like, you know, I could find some redeeming value in that. And to be honest, I can too with Attack of the Clones. It's just that it took 10 years for it to have something of redeeming quality. I mean, taking away the Battlefront games, those are games. It took an actual 6-season long continuation to really validate Attack of the Clones. And not only that, Clone Wars is just... Well, I don't want to talk about Clone Wars because then I'll just not stop talking about how awesome Clone Wars is. But basically, okay, so the main point of criticism with this movie, because like Phantom Menace, there's a few checklists we have to check off. So let's just get this one right out of the way. Anakin and Padme, or Padmekin. What the fuck?
Okay.
Natalie Portman's a good actress!
And yet they put her in these... Honestly, I feel that the only reason they had those quote-unquote romance scenes was so they could show beautiful backdrops and scenic luxury areas of Naboo.
And you know what?
Honestly, who cares?
And you know what? Naboo is fucking pretty. It's pretty
I know.
as fuck, yo. But that doesn't make it that doesn't. Sorry, I wear a shirt without sleeves. Suddenly, I'm from Brooklyn, but that doesn't make it okay. No, stop it. You stop it. Here's my thing. I rewatched this film recently. I didn't want to, but a friend of mine is redoing all the Star Wars stuff before Force Awakens, so I'm like, fine, whatever. But honestly, I have it on DVD. I remember watching it here in my house, but then I watched it on the Blu-ray. I gotta give it credit. Then and now, that movie's sleek as fuck.
Yeah,
like
much.
It's very like I know a main point of complaint is the CG, but honestly, at least in the Blu-ray touch-up, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah,
Now,
but anyway, but back to the romance. That did not improve in the in the Blu-ray HD enhancements.
okay.
1080p is not going to fix those wooden performances.
Here's the thing. I don't hate all of them. In fact, I feel that the scene where they're talking about their emotions by the fire is actually a very good scene, a very well shot scene. However, there are other scenes. Like, okay. That scene where Anakin and Padme are leaning over the railing, and Anakin's like, I don't like sand. It's rough and coarse and irritating. It gets everywhere. But not like here. Here everything's soft and smooth. I'm like, dude, you are creeping me out right now.
Were they supposed? Did Lucas intend to write Anakin as creepy? I mean, he is still younger than Padme, so if he was going for that, he's still young and naive thing, that's a cool plot point. And they did do that, but they made him come off as more of like a creepy stalker. I mean, what? He hasn't seen Padme in 10 years, and he tells Obi-Wan, he's like, I've thought of her every day since. To be honest, I understand it's Natalie Portman, bro. I get you. Mm-hmm. But actually, you know what? The best part about the prequel trilogy may just be Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, Ewan McGregor is probably we agree with Nostalgia Critic that Ewan McGregor is the only phenomenally good actor in these movies.
He's a good actor anyway.
Because, you have Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen, which I argue that Hayden Christensen isn't a bad actor. He just had the really bad direction of Lucas.
Robert Pattinson's a decent actor, but he's he'll be forever tainted.
Pretty much.
Kristen Stewart does decent movies once in a while, but she's Bella Swan. No, or whatever her name was from those movies. Yeah. And she'll forever be tainted.
And here's the thing. Ewan McGregor, despite everything that went on, despite all the bad direction and the bad acting and all that, he felt like a true character. He felt like what a young, aging warrior Obi-Wan Kenobi would be.
Oh yeah, I watch Attack of the Clones. If you watching Attack of the Clones, and after Phantom Menace, you really do see how Obi-Wan can become Ben. I mean, he's going to, but it would have been easy just to write Obi-Wan Kenobi as this whatever character, and then you watch the original trilogy and just be like, oh, okay, I guess I can see. But no, I mean, he does actually have the most clear character arc. Young when he's brash and naive. In this movie, he's a little smarter, a little wiser, but he'll still slice some heads off.
And I'm gonna say his relationship with Anakin, the master apprentice relationship, it's very strained. Because the first scene that they're talking, they're already arguing over you need to learn to follow my lead. Why?
Because he's the master.
Exactly.
The whole point of being a Padawan is so you do what your master told you to do. I guarantee Yoda didn't get anywhere by asking questions.
If I knew that you practice your saber techniques, you rival Yoda as a swordsman. I thought I already did. Only in your mind, my very young apprentice.
And that's the interesting thing is that whereas Qui-Gon Jinn was older and wiser, Obi-Wan's still young too, so they're still learning and growing as he goes. He's still learning and growing as he goes along. But he has been around the block more, and I'm pretty sure those 10 years of, whatever he and Anakin were up to after Qui-Gon's death, that definitely, you can tell already, that steeled him more as a Jedi swordsman as opposed to Phantom Menace. Actually, even in Phantom Menace, he was still pretty formidable and, pretty smart, but, But, yeah, so that's a weird thing. This movie has, like, 9 really cool moments, like, not just on, like, a looks level, but even on a what's the word, cinematographic? Is that the word?
Cinematography level.
Yeah, even on a cinematography level. Especially, I know, we're not going to explain the plot because, let's be honest, you don't care. You just want to hear how we hate the movie. And we'll get to that even more. But to give it a tiny sliver of credit, there are a few scenes that stand out to me. There are a few scenes between Anakin and Padme that are actually genuinely kind of compelling. I like the scene where Anakin sneaks into the Tusken Raider camp and finds his mom. And he holds her, and then she passes away and stuff. That's actually to me anyway. That's a sad, gripping scene. And when he goes completely nuts on the Tuskens, obviously it's bad. Mm-hmm. And as he says later, he slaughters all of them. But for a little bit, you're like, you know what? Yeah, mess those guys up.
Yeah, pretty much. And I will give this movie some credit. He does go through grief, and I get that he goes through a ton of crap in this film.
Oh, yeah.
But that doesn't excuse having your emotions take control of everything. Just saying.
Yes, but I would argue because, in Tatooine, when he was a kid, his mother was all he has. Doesn't see her for 10 years. Finally does, only to have her pass on. Which, that'd be rough on anybody.
Yeah. And
so,
really...
I understand where he's coming from, but, it is hard to justify him slaughtering an entire village when this is messed up. But his mom getting traded is just everyday business on Tatooine.
Mm-hmm. And, going on cinematography, the most beautiful scene in this movie, I feel, is the very beginning, right after the title scroll, where you have the Naboo starfighters and the new Naboo cruiser kind of just moving and turning on its head so that they can get into Coruscant. I find that absolutely beautiful.
Oh yeah, there are two things no one can ever take away from Star Wars: the music and the looks.
Mm-hmm.
And the other scene that really stands out to me is actually a pretty good one. It's right after Windu kills Jyn, and then Boba Fett, after they all leave and he comes out of hiding, he just grips the mask, and there's no tears enough, but you can see he's hurt, and he just like pulls it close to his head, and then but the way the camera's angled, all you see are shadows.
Mm-hmm.
And Boba Fett's an especially compelling story if you see the tiny little arc on him in the Clone Wars, because to kind of it is canon, so it is okay to talk about Clone Wars, because when Disney bought Star Wars, they made pretty much everything else except for Clone Wars and Rebels and maybe The Force Unleashed, I don't know, but basically they made everything else kind of AU fan fiction, the legacy universe.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, what I'm saying is that Boba Fett's a character where it's like he doesn't want to do bad things, but he's so consumed by the revenge of his father that leads him into the mercenary lifestyle, which that's an interesting plot point I just want to point out. There's that, and there's a few more scenes later, but we'll get to those in a bit. What's another elephant in the room about this movie?
Well, actually, another thing to the movie's credit, there's less Jar Jar.
Oh yeah, but yeah. I remember last time we were talking about Jar Jar's super success story. I mean, for real though, that's literally like going from that homeless guy that goes to coffee shops and just like, yeah, I'll just have a coffee with some cream and sugar, and then leaves. basically becoming like Sidney Poitier.
Uh-huh.
But honestly, but those little moments are definitely worth praise because they are well shot, and that does tell me that obviously Lucas knows what he's doing. It's his project, his series, his baby. So honestly, even though we don't like it, to a degree, he's allowed to do whatever he wants. That doesn't mean we'll like it, but it is still his thing,
And that's what a lot of people fail to understand. This is, yes, is it a huge, massive, successful franchise? Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's Star Wars.
However, is it up to us to judge that his stuff is junk when it's really him doing what he does best?
As
and
far
doing
as
what he loves?
my opinion on the matter is that he wrote this, he directed this, so whatever he pushed out, that tells me he was satisfied with it, which some people would then use as a negative on Lucas. But at the end of the day, this is still his project, and the prequel trilogy, I mean, he took a very attentive eye to it. So the story he wanted to tell, he wanted to tell it the best way he could, the way he felt he could. That's why I feel kind of sad and honestly a little ripped off that Lucas doesn't have a part in really have a significant role in the development of the new Star Wars movies, because George Lucas is the sole reason we had Star Wars. There's a story where Lucas showed an original cut of Star Wars to his friends, some of his director friends, and literally out of like 8 directors, except Steven Spielberg, they all thought it sucked and it was gonna flop. And then Star Wars becomes one of the biggest franchise of all. Well, I would say except the Avengers is kind of kicking everyone's ass right now. But I'm still gonna say it. Star Wars is, in my opinion, the biggest franchise in almost virtually any form of media, for movies anyway, of all time. So the dude can do what he wants. He didn't create a new hope for the fans. He didn't create. That's why I'm kind of worried that the new films are going to be filled with. That's why I'm on Han and Chewie being, and Luke and Leia being in there. Only because I mean, Obi-Wan had to be in the prequel trilogy because he became Ben Kenobi, and Anakin had to be in the prequel trilogy because he would be Darth Vader. But, and I know in some books it shows them older and whatever, but to me, after Return of the Jedi, I mean, their story's done, So I'm hoping that the things that or whatever that are in there with them isn't just for, fan service type reasons. Because I mean, you never see whole panels of with Liam Neeson or Ewan McGregor or Hayden Christensen at these Star Wars conventions. They're all for the old trilogy, which I really think is unfair to Lucas.
I agree.
That being, I mean, I still hate this movie, but
we're not trying to say that it's bad that we're.
No, I'm not defending this movie. I'm defending George Lucas.
Mm-hmm. Because Lucas can do what he wants, but the product of this movie is garbage. And let me let me kind of go through the Anakin and Padme thing, because if you really look at it, and I'm gonna end this off in the episode 3 review, because I feel it's a very powerful plot point that not a lot of people have talked about. But do you notice, why isn't there any chemistry between Padme and Anakin? Because it always just seems like Anakin's trying to get the girl, and then all of a sudden, right before they're about to die, the girl's like, "Oh, I love you." Where did that come from?
I think what they were trying to go for was Anakin is like the socially awkward kid that likes the pretty cheerleader, and she has to hide her feelings because her popular friends won't like her anymore or whatever. And then at the end, like at prom or whatever, she's like, "I always liked you" and stuff. But honestly, it seems kind of not reverse, but I think they played their parts a little too well. There are times when Padme genuinely, it looks like she genuinely just is not into Anakin. And Anakin looks like the kind of guy that like has a little like tiny like pocket saber that slices off some of her hair and keeps it in his pocket or something.
Exactly. Now, the one scene that I do want to talk about is, when they're by the fire. Honestly, I feel that Padme was almost like a bit of a tease when she wore that outfit. Because really, when you put that outfit right next to a fire with the only source of light, that's gonna be considered really seductive. However, what I want to talk about in this scene is, we can't do this because we're leading separate lives. We're going in two completely different directions. Anakin, you're studying to become a Jedi. I'm a senator. Politics and Jedi aren't really supposed to correlate. And he's already said explicitly, we're not allowed to love.
Actually, yeah, when you put it like that, it makes me even feel more even now I feel offended that she says that she loves him in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been interesting if in episode 3, like in this movie, if they just ended it off like I don't know, instead of them getting married secretly, because that's right, they get married.
Yeah, they do.
It'd be like, so instead of them getting married, maybe they're like at the balcony they were where Anakin was talking about sand, and and they just look at each other's eyes with like little smiles or whatever. Then the next movie, it's like, oh crap, they're living together and are super in love, you guys. Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to like put the movie through rewrites. Not saying I could like do it better because I know I couldn't. I'm just saying that probably would have been a little more better. But oh yeah, so there's another elephant we need to talk in the room. Geonosis and that whole Coliseum monster truck thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, that was dope. The Jedis are coming out of nowhere, and they're killing Genosians left and right. The Genosians have their fart guns, and Django's blasting is blasting Jedi. He shoots that one Jedi, then does that sweet pistol thing.
Twirl.
Yeah, I wish he would just take his helmet off, blew the smoke off, put it back on, then holster the gun. Just because, I mean, I don't know, there was something so badass about that.
Oh yeah. And
then,
I know they were trying to just joke about that, but that was awesome.
Then the clone troopers come in, and Yoda's like, around the perimeters. No, around the battlefield. A perimeter creates.
Yes. Around the survivors, a perimeter creates.
Yeah, survivors.
I'm like, gosh, you don't have to talk that backwards.
I know, right? So, oh well. So that fight's awesome. Django gets killed. Some Jedis actually get gunned down. Then Dooku escapes by, oh yeah, Christopher Lee.
Oh my gosh.
He
played a Jedi. Well, a Sith Lord rather, but still. He played Lord Tyrannus.
And honestly, considering how little he was used in episode 3, they kind of set him up to be a pretty big villain in this movie, like, ooh, he's the next, Sith apprentice and whatever. But, well, we'll talk about the third movie next week. So,
yeah.
So they follow Dooku. Padme, and this is another scene I kind of like, Padme gets blown out the ship, and Anakin's like, no, turn this car around. And Obi-Wan's like, she knew what she got herself into when she signed up for this war. And he's like, fine. So they go find Dooku. They fight him. They get boned. And then, hold on. Fucking Yoda!
Yes! He goes.
Oh!
I love this scene. Mainly because they start with the Force.
Yeah. No, though, that's cool.
Impasse with the Force. Let's see how we are with lightsabers. Now, here's the thing. I'm gonna say that. Do you notice with a lot of Star Wars movies, there's always those questions that everyone has on their mind for the movies?
Yes.
For like Return of the Jedi, what does it look like behind Vader's mask? This movie, what is the color of Yoda's lightsaber?
Honestly, did anyone really think it'd be any other color?
When I saw that, I'm just like, oh, it's green. Okay.
Well, it wouldn't have made sense if it was blue. Why couldn't it have been gold like Plo Koon's or something?
I know, right? We don't even see Plo Koon in this movie.
No. I mean, he just gets wasted in Order 66,
Uh-huh.
or if you play Jedi Power Battles, but on the PlayStation 1.
Jedi
No.
Power Battles was amazing.
It was fun. Don't use Plo Koon though; he's the slowest one. And it's not like one of those he's slow but powerful. No, the dude's just slow. Use Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon's the best one. But anyway, so then that happens, and Yoda, Count Dooku cheats, and he's gonna crush Anakin with things. Then Yoda's like, "Damn it, kid!" So he saves him. Then Dooku escapes. Sidious is like, "We are ready to enact the final solution because I'm Space Napoleon Hitler."
Yeah, pretty much.
So then Anakin has a sweet robot arm, a la Luke Skywalker's, except Luke Skywalker's was like a prosthetic robot hand. This is just a straight up robotic hand, which he's more machine than man now. And yeah, but the movie ends and it's like, oh yay, I mean, a bunch of Jedis died, but they're married now. We can't wait for Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. This movie sucks.
It does.
And it's not that great written. It's not that great acted. It looks great. The fights are cool, but and you know what? It's like a half hour too long.
I agree.
It's like what, a 2.5 hour movie almost?
Yeah, it's a 2.5 hour movie, and it just goes on for way too long.
I give this a fucking half star. No, you know what? No, the only people get this if they watch wrestling botchamates, but get this -5 stars. That's my opinion on this. That's my opinion on this movie.
This episode, in all honesty, though, what would you really give it, though?
-5 stars.
Really? That bad?
I don't know. I'd give it a star because I'll give it 2. 2 because the Clone Wars validates its entire existence. To talk about Clone Wars real quick, Clone Wars shows me something that I've always known for a while. Star Wars they could tell the same exact plots they did in Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith. And honestly, if it was in like a TV show format, I really think what Lucas was trying to get across would have gotten across better because you would have had more time for development. You would have had more time for setting up the story and the world and the characters. Because Clone Wars is awesome. You actually see Anakin's slow, twisted descent into his into the dark side better than more clear than watching Episode 2 than watching Episode 3. To give 3 some credit before we talk about it, they did do okay on that. But Clone Wars is awesome, and obviously, and it takes place right after this movie. So if you got the time, go watch Clone Wars. 6 seasons. It takes a little bit to get into, but honestly, once season 2 kicks into gear, well, the last half season 1 to season 2, and then especially the last 2 seasons, dude, they bring in Darth Malak. That's dope.
Pretty much.
They go to this like Tomb of the Sith or something. Oh, but I hate this movie.
Yeah, this movie, I'm giving it a 3. It's bad. Oh, we didn't even talk about Camino. Gosh.
Okay, really quick.
Aliens.
You want to know my thoughts on Camino? Boom. There you go. Okay.
It was an interesting locale. But even the music hated it. Because they just played the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah, that weird dark ambient music.
Yeah. No. This movie sucks.
Yeah, don't rewatch it. We know you've watched it. It's fucking Star Wars.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that's it from us.
Yep. And you know what? I know this review is a lot shorter than the last one, but really,
It's Attack of the
what is
Clones.
there to be said? Oh, by the way, the one scene that I really would say that was good, and I agree with Nostalgia Critic on, is where that guy comes up and he's like, "You want to buy some death sticks?"
Oh yeah.
And then Obi-Wan's just like, "You don't want to sell me death sticks. I don't want to sell you death sticks. You want to go home and
Go
rethink
home
your
and
life.
rethink your life. I'm gonna
I
go
want to
home
go
and
home and
rethink my
rethink my
life.
life." And really, when you look at it, did he really just straight up say, "Change your life"? No.
Yeah. Well, kind of, but no.
It was rethink your life. So he did bring a lot of his teachings from Qui-Gon, and he knows how to sweet talk his way out of a situation.
Well, it also helps when your teacher. If you're Ewan McGregor and your teacher is Liam Neeson, you're gonna be a good Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
So next week we get to talk about the good one. Well, I mean, I like Famous, but next week we get to talk about the best one.
Yes, Revenge of the Sith, the best
Yeah.
movie
Yes.
of the prequels.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay, so
Yeah.
we'll see y'all's in a week, yo.
All right. See y'all later.
Bye.